We've talked sort of about the effect on Fox, the effect on Tucker Carlson. I'm curious on the effect on, I guess, the discourse that we'll have with him potentially either temporarily having a different level of influence or maybe permanently his relationship with, a big group of right wingers maybe being different. I think about like the things that have sort of been normalized by the presence of some other people in media. Like for me, O'Reilly, I agree, and his politics was more center right, but there was a good amount of like casual racism from Bill O'Reilly in the way that he talked about certain communities. And Glenn Beck was very conspiratorial, and there was a lot of casual anti-Semitism in some of his conspiracy theories. Tucker Carlson has over time, he talks about aliens, he talks about every sort of conspiratorial thing. For a long time though, it was demonizing women in the military. He had a lot of stuff about masculinity and trying to create this sort of myth of what men need to do to be men. There was obviously the anti-vax stuff. There's a lot of stuff in that pot. I'm just curious what you think. Will his either temporary or permanent, the change in his status, will that have an effect on right-wing thought and what they prioritize? Or are there now so many actors that it doesn't necessarily matter?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, it's impossible to know, but I would say that I don't know. Look, our civil discourse so far hasn't trended upwards. Like if anything that's happened over the last 5 to 10 years, it's gotten coarser, more conspiratorial. And I don't see any evidence that suggests that that trend will end anytime soon. So I think Tucker was really, really good at his job in terms of his sophistry. He had this sort of like combination of highbrow. So if you were a critical thinker and you could sort of see through his rhetoric, you kind of got that it was metaphorical, but it was also appealed at a very lowbrow to some viewers who just took what he said face value. And he was sort of a nihilist. He didn't necessarily feel any responsibility for the net effect of what he said, which I called him out. I got in a big fight with him on TV talking about the conversation around gun reform. And I think they lost a very vocal leader, but I suspect that Jesse Waters, who's replacing him at 8 o'clock, he's just as, if not more dishonest than Tucker Carlson ever was. Remember, he was the one that said that the Hillary Clintons hired someone to spy on Trump by inserting something on their server in something that was worse than Watergate. He just made that up. He just made that up. And he's got he doesn't have any obligation to any, not just journalistic standard, but to the truth. Jesse Waters will probably be less impactful from Tucker Carlson because he's less talented. But he's gonna do the same thing where if he's not held to account and can, if you can't compete. I wrote an article about ratings some time ago. Like, how do you expect any other outlet that feels obligated to tell the truth? They can't compete ratings-wise with a network like Fox News that will just lie. And I think that the network and Rupert Murdoch and executives there realized that they had a real problem with Tucker Carlson, and that was really the reason. I think Fox News would love nothing more than to try to swing back towards the center. I don't know if they can though. I think the genie's out of the bottle. So I don't think any voice is going to get stronger. I think it's just going to be more diffuse. And how that nets out at the end, I wish I had the answer to that. I'd probably be worth a lot of money.
Okay, I guess we'll see. I mean,
right.
I won't see his show. I'm very happy to never acknowledge that it even exists again. But I am glad that there are people like you who are doing critical coverage of it because it does matter.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Colby, for joining us on the show. Thank you. Everyone can continue to check your work out at Media. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.